and welcome to BookTube with Amy. Today is going to be my most recent weekly wrap up. So I read A Feeling Is Honey by Charlaine Harris, which is the 6th book in the Aurora Tea Garden series that I am reading as part of my read along hosted by me and Ange from Angie's Book Chatter. I really enjoyed this instalment actually. I think that after the first one, this is probably the next most enjoyable. I feel like we got some actual decent character development in this one. Aurora was a wee bit more introspective and having a think about some of her behaviours over the past few books, and you know, whether or not the behaviours are in line with the type of person that she actually wants to be. And so it's gave me some faith that going into the next few books we're maybe going to see like a new side to Aurora, which I think will be really good because we have all found her to be quite annoying. And without talking about spoilers, so I don't want to miss like spoiling him for anybody because we're going to do a live show on this. I feel like the ending of this book was spectacular and something that we have all been rooting for. If you know, you know. I found this book a wee bit difficult to read with all the baby content, but that is definitely personal, and you know, something that the rest of the group I'm sure will have found to be a struggle. But this edition is very baby focused. Aurora, her niece, actually comes for a visit and goes missing, leaving Aurora and Martin to look after her new baby, and it brings up a lot of Aurora's own struggles with her infertility and with the fact that Martin is older, and you know, the realisation that they are not going to have kids. And there's just quite a lot of baby chat in this one, which I found to be quite difficult at times. But other than that, it was a pretty good read. I did enjoy the mystery element. The characters, like I say, were a wee bit better in this one, and I felt like this was a pretty engaging read, whereas some of the other ones have just been a bit ugh, and was very engaged with this one, so I thoroughly enjoyed it and it was a 5-star for me. And then I read The Sorceress by Michael Scott, and this is the 3rd book in the Immortal Secrets of Nicholas Flamel series. So I read the first one again at the beginning of this year, The Alchemist. That was a reread, it was a 5-star. I really didn't enjoy the second one, and so I've sort of been putting off picking up the 3rd one, to be honest, but I'm actually really glad that I did because this has made me excited to finish the series out. I rated this one a 4-star. In the end, I feel like my issues with book 2 sort of continued. So one of my main issues with book 2 is that we were introducing so many different characters to this world, and I felt like they weren't really adding much, and I feel like we do get quite a lot of new characters introduced in this one and into the wider world, but I feel like the characters that were added in this instalment were actually adding value and were like decent fleshed out characters, and they weren't just being added in for the sake of Michael Scott being able to say this is such an expansive universe. So I felt like that made a difference and I enjoyed it a wee bit more. The only issue that this was a 4-star instead of a 5-star for me is because our main 2 characters, the way that they are being written is starting to frustrate and annoy me a wee bit. So I'm not going to talk about plot in this one because it's obviously a 3rd in a series, so I really don't want to spoil anything for anybody who is interested in picking this series up. But Josh and Sophie are twins, and their magic gets awoken at different times, and there's almost becoming quite a competitive edge to their relationship, which I really don't enjoy, and it's all coming from Josh. And in the 2nd book he was really doing my head in with it, and I thought that in this book it would maybe be a bit less so because his magic has been awakened by this point also. And none of them are real spoilers, by the way. They are not like hugely important to the plot, they are just things that happen. But he's like got a right bee in his bonnet about the fact that his sister has had a wee bit more time with her powers and a wee bit more time to train, and he, because they're twins, has always seen them as equal, and he now sees his sister as superior to him, even though she doesn't see it like that at all. And he's really pissed off about it, and it's very annoying to read and like just have to deal with that. stupid teenage emotion, and I'm not here for that. And then like the goodies see them as equally strong. Like they are twins, they're in this prophecy, they don't think that one is stronger than the other or whatever, but the bad guys seem to really be under the impression that Josh is a lot stronger than Sophie, even though Sophie is far more skilled and has had longer to like get used to her magic, and it's almost like she can't be the superior one because she's a woman, like, and that just really fucks me off, and so that definitely hindered my enjoyment of this book for sure. Interesting to see how that plays out in the rest of the series, because I do feel like if that becomes quite a prominent plot line, I don't think I will be able to finish, because it is very annoying. Like, we're in this very mystical, magical world. There are like loads of different historical figures and like mythological figures. We deal with a lot of Celtic mythology and folklore in here, which should be my ideal series, and it's just no what I want to be reading about. Like, I could read any book about a spoiled teenage boy, and like that's not why I'm picking this series up. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm glad to have read this and continued this for my I seriously need to finish this challenge. I've only 3 more in the series to read now, so you know, if I do one every other month or whatever to the end of the year, I'll definitely have that finished. And then I read Olympus Volume 4 by Rachel Smythe. I have been so excited for this to come out, and as soon as it came out I bought it and read it, and it was excellent. I have such a really good time with these graphic novels. I think that they are, I say it every single time, but they just strike a really great balance between being really adorable and romantic and like dealing with hard-hitting emotional subjects excellently. And the characters in here, again, I feel like we're really developing the world with Hades and Persephone's relationship, and we're getting a wee bit more backstory and a wee bit more time with some other characters in the series, which I'm really enjoying, although like we're here for Hades and Persephone, right? But I'm really enjoying that, and I feel like this was a really empowering volume. And I am going to go into spoilers because it's the 4th in a series and I can't really talk about it too much without talking about spoilers, and the big thing that I want to talk about is a big spoiler for this series. So if you are planning to read this series or you haven't read this volume yet and you aren't wanting spoilers, this is a 5-star read for me. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but click away to the next book now. So in this book we see Persephone like really starting to stick up for herself and no just be a wee bit of a shy pushover. In the first volume of this book, Persephone is sexually assaulted and she is raped by her roommate's brother, and he has like tried so hard to be part of her life, and it's unclear whether he views it as rape or no. Like I genuinely can't tell if he knows he's raped her and he's just trying to manipulate her, or if he genuinely thinks what he did is fine because he's that much of a dickhead. But in this instalment, he's like waiting to speak to her at one point and she's like no, and then like he comes to her flat that she stays at with her roommate because that's his sister, and he's just like, you know, like, I want to be with you, and she's like, well, I didn't want to be with you, and he's like, aye, but like, you know, loads of folk would be lucky to have me and and thinks he is the actual shit, and she's like, I don't want to be with you, like, you're an absolute rapist creep, like, fuck off. And she really puts herself across very well. She comes across as very strong in that moment, and she tells him what the script is. You know, she's like, look, listen, I didn't want what happened between us to come between you and your relationship with your sister, so like, you're allowed to be here at this time on these days and I will be polite and I will be courteous, but other than that, have no contact with me. I didn't want to be with you, like, stop harassing me, get out yourself basically, and really puts him in his place. So I'm hoping that that continues into the 5th one, and we sort of get to see everything that happened come to light. I feel like we are at that point now where I think things need to come out and people need to know the truth, so I'm hoping that that's where it's going to go next. But I thoroughly enjoyed this, and we had some real big relationship hitting points in this one with Hades and Persephone as well, really realising how they felt for each other, and it was just very cute and adorable to see. And as always, like, Hades is just the cutest wee baddie ever, and I love him. 5-star read, thoroughly loved it. We'll pick up the 5th one when it comes out. I think it's at the end of this year. I'll definitely get it. And then lastly I read Where We Go From Here by Lucas Rocha, and this was the Fiction Addiction book club pick for June. This is a story about 3 guys basically, and all their lives come together because of HIV and AIDS. Henrique is our main character, I feel, and he has had HIV for years. He is undetectable and he still struggles with this in his life, and he starts seeing someone new, Victor, who is one of our other main characters, and Victor is really struggling with how to deal with Henrique's HIV status and whether or not he really wants to pursue a relationship with him. And he goes to get tested at HIV clinic, even though they have been 1000% safe, but just to double check his status anyway. And while he's there, he meets Ian, and Ian has just tested positive while Victor tests negative, and so they strike up a wee bit of a conversation. And Victor says to him, you know, one of my good friends, he is HIV positive, maybe he could try and help you navigate this, and like you would just have somebody to talk to who would understand. And so he passes on Henrique's details, and Henrique, Ian and Victor all form a wee bit of a friendship group, and I thoroughly enjoyed this. It's just these 3 guys' stories, life stories, all coming together basically. And I feel like there was such good conversations in here around HIV and AIDS care. I feel like this book was seriously informative, and I would like to class myself as somebody who is pretty informed, and I feel like I would know quite a bit about HIV and AIDS, but this book actually still managed to teach me some things about it, which I was really impressed by and really enjoyed. And I also felt like the character work in this book was absolutely superb. I cared about all 3 of these guys so much, and I cared about Victor even when Victor wasn't being the nicest. Victor is really struggling with the social aspect, I feel, potentially being in a relationship with somebody who is HIV positive, even though he's undetectable. And you know, there's almost sort of this, for the outside looking in, bias, and you know, there's still a lot of stigma around HIV and AIDS, and so it was nice to see, well, not nice to see, but I guess refreshing to see that there was a bit of that within the queer community as well. And Victor's, you know, best friend, who is a straight female, was, you know, calling him out for some of his backwards views, and I just felt like it was really educational, but it wasn't done in a way where you ever really hated Victor because you knew where Victor's mindset was. And I think it was just a really nice way of making you understand where, how and why this prejudice and stigma can sometimes come about, and then we obviously get to see Victor turning that round, and so there was a really good bit of character development there as well, and a really positive message at the end. I do want to talk about the ending of this book, so I am going to spoil it a wee bit for anybody who hasn't read this yet, but this was a 5-star read for me. I really enjoyed it. I did the audiobook for this. It is available on Scribd in the UK, and I would recommend for everybody to check it out, especially with it being Pride Month. It was just phenomenal. One of the most surprising reads I think that I have picked up this year. I really did love it, and I did the audio for it, like I say, and I had to, like, I was doing a wee bit in the garden and I had to come in to finish the book because, like, I had tears and snatters tripping me. But 5-star read, and I'm going to, like, go on to spoil the ending because I need to talk about it. So essentially, Henrique's ex comes back onto the scene from before Victor, and he pissed off to New Zealand, basically done a complete and utter bunk and lied to Henry Kay about it. He saved up for it for 8 months and then just poof, disappeared overnight. Didn't mention anything to him, and Henry Kay was really hurt for that, understandably. And so he comes back onto the scene and almost just assumes that Henry Kay isn't going to have found anybody else because of his HIV status, and he's like, oh, I want us to like get back together and da da da, and he's like, absolutely not. And he's like, but you have HIV, so like I am the best you are ever going to get in your entire life. And Henry Kay's like, I don't think so. And he's like, you do realise like you have HIV, so like the fact that I'm still choosing you like speaks volumes, and you need to be with me, and is a complete and utter arsehole about it. And Enrique stands his ground and he's like, absolutely no. And when he leaves, he's like, you're going to regret this. And so his ex states all over social media that Henry Kay has AIDS, and you know, that is God's disease and he's going to get punished, and you know, all this stuff about him, and says that he is trying to spread it to as many people as possible. So if you are a gay man, make sure that you're not having sex with him, and like all this defamatory stuff that just isn't true, and it's just absolutely horrible lies. And Enrique really gets into his head about it, and he thinks he's going to be like sacked for his job, and you know, people are going to be hating on him, and he's getting loads and loads of hate sent to his social media accounts for this. But he's also getting a lot of support as well, and a couple of like legal firms reach out to him and are like, we will help you in a defamation case so you can get all of this taken down. And his employer like really backs him and is like, you know, under no circumstances are you going to be sacked or fired because of this. Like, absolutely no. If anything, we're here to support you. Like, we know you, we love you. Like, we didn't believe any of these lies anyway, but like the fact that you're HIV positive doesn't make a difference in terms of how you can do your job. As long as you continue to do your job, like, we're here for you. But what I really loved was the way that his friendship group, including Ian and Victor, really rallied round him to support him. And he comes home one day and his house has been graffitied, and you know, his roommate, who's a very prominent figure in this book as well, who is a drag queen and fucking hysterical. So Enrique's roommate is a drag queen and an absolute living legend, and just like the nicest person ever. And he and Victor and Ian are all cleaning off this graffiti, and Henrique comes and gives them a wee hand, and Henrique is really in the mind that he just needs to let it go and no do anything in retaliation. But the guys are like, no. And so what they decide to do is they get all the drag queens together and they get like balloons filled with like different coloured paints of the pride flag, and they go and they do this big like performance art demonstration outside the guy who tried to defame him on social media's house, and they, you know, spray paint. HIV doesn't kill, but prejudice does. And then like the book ends with a big social media post for Henry Kay, just like owning his HIV status and, you know, talking about it. And I just really liked it. I can feel myself getting emotional talking about it right now. Like, it was just so lovely that they took this really act of hate and vindictiveness and they turned it into something really lovely and positive, and turned it into like a really important queer moment. And that was just so amazing to read, and it just got me really emotional reading it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, and it was just such a perfect uplifting way to end the book, especially because Enrique has been on such an up and down journey with his HIV status. Like, he's had a lot of trust issues and stuff with opening up and speaking to people, and so the fact that he was just being really open about it and really like, no, this is the script, I was like, oh my god, growth. Like, loved every minute in it. So it was a total 5-star read for me. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought that the characters were brilliant, and I would definitely check out anything that Lucas Roca did in the future. I thought that this was fantastic. Highly would recommend. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you're enjoying everything that you're reading at the moment. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.